I'll throw this out to all of you. There's a debate about something called net neutrality, and it's defined many different ways. But I mean, one definition is that things should be allowed over the internet regardless of the content and their source, and everything should be treated equally. Will that continue in the wireless arena? Will it get more intense, that debate? Does it go away in the wireless perspective as we move toward the mobile internet?
Well, let me provide a couple of notes of disclosure here. So one is I'm on the open mic board, so I've sort of taken the Kool-Aid and believe in the
such
mission
as it is.
Such as it is. I also serve on the board of the Verizon Consumer Affairs Board. So I'm sit in the room with the folks at Verizon on a regular basis, and they allow me to yell at them about things that they're doing. They want to be viewed in a way that's positive because they think that's good for their business. And so when they do things like charge you extra money to download your music on the cell phone that you purchased, and consumers complain about that, or we on the Consumer Advisory Board complain about that, they sort of scratch their heads and they go, maybe we ought to take a look at that again, and sort of the engine starts rolling. But it's one of the reasons that we are there. Now, I write things that Verizon gets very upset about, and they call me up, and how can you write this about, we don't care about America and this and that, and I said, well, it's not you, it's the corporation. I mean, your job. And as an investor, I, to some extent, want you to do your job. Your job is to make money for your investors. And part of my job, both as an advocate, is to create pressure so that people see things that you're doing that they may not like, and in order to change your behavior. The short answer to the question about net neutrality is that whether it's wired or whether it's wireless, the folks who control the networks have a strong incentive to manage their network. Financial incentives, incentives to determine the level of traffic, to allow others on, incentives to make sure that they can extend their infrastructure without investing in new infrastructure, and so it's fine to be able to deliver, 1 to 2 megabits per second instead of 10 or 20, and you're only going to be able to do that if you're able to manage the old pipes that you've got. They have very, very strong incentives to manage the network. That's not the vision that many of us had about, I think it was Jamie or someone, or the comptroller talked about the digital age. The promise of the digital age was, it suggested a promise of openness, that all these commercials about all the things that were going to be connected, that everything that we had in our homes that we wanted to be connected was going to be connected. But again, all the other promises about privacy, the promises about not being able to or being charged reasonable fees for accessing that network, all those other promises didn't go away. So the promises of the internet are really just wonderful American dreams that are in confrontation to some extent with the American reality of managing the networks and the services, and part of the role that we play as advocates or as folks who are fighting on behalf of consumers in conversation with the corporations is, how can we make sure that we preserve some measure of that dream? How can we make sure we get closer to that vision of the promise of the digital age while continuing to hope for competition and a wide variety of other things that we think might result in that. And it's a conversation. It's a conversation that's ages old. It's not going to go away. It's not going to be solved with a rulemaking or even if Blair becomes the next chairman of the FCC.